Hey there, this is a very, very basic overview of the format guidelines for the book of a musical. There's a lot of variations out there. This is one we developed at the Academy for New Musical Theater. If you follow this, your script and score are going to look perfectly professional. So I'm going to highlight just the basics you're going to need for formatting the book, the script. So the title page has got the title and then book, music, lyrics, in that order, book, music, lyrics. You could, depending on the purpose of the draft, put a date on it or your contact information. We don't advise putting copyright on it for a couple other reasons. It's about a 10-minute discussion, which is beyond the scope of this particular overview. So let me get into the mechanics of the actual script itself. You'll notice in this video I'm concentrating on the top third. It's because if I do the entire page, it's just too tiny. But you've got 1-inch margins all the way around from the top and the bottom and the right and the left. You want this old-fashioned font, Courier 12-point. There's also something called Courier New. That's perfectly fine. If you use this font, it's non-controversial. It's basically what folks are expecting. Any other kind of font, and you're outside of the box, which is not necessarily the goal. So the Act 1, Act 2 gets capitalized and center. You can see there's a center line here. And then scene gets upper lowercase, also underlined. Look at this, the header up here of the page numbering. This refers to the act and scene and page number. Act 1, scene 1, page number 1. When we get to Act 2, that 1 would change to a 2, and then you're on whatever scene there is, be 2, 1, and then the page numbers for Act 2 start again at page 1. In other words, Act 1 has got pages, 47, 48, 49, and it ends on page 57. The Act 2 does not start on 58, it starts back on page 1. That's to allow a producer to look at the script and realize how many pages there are to Act 2 just by turning to the last page of the script, rather than having to do some math. So, the title, the first stage direction is indented here. There's no parentheses here in the very first stage direction. All the other stage directions are further flushed over here. I'll turn a page and show you one of those in a sec. But just for the very first one, the initial stage direction is indented to center. There's no parentheses. And the character names are capitalized if they're doing the action, if Kylie and Shane are doing the action, whereas if Kylie throws something at Shane and Shane is the recipient of the action, Shane is not capitalized. Capitalize the people who are doing the actions, not the people who are acted upon. So you see, Kylie is doing her best. Shane devours. Character names go in the center here, and dialogue is flush left. These parentheticals, these asides, are indented a full inch over here. Then let me show you what happens when you get to dialogue or lyrics. So when you're moving into a song, a stage direction you see here is indented. I don't know if you can tell over here. It's indented an inch from the left and from the right. It's indented both sides. And as you move into a song, you want to put the cue number and then bold it. If this were being submitted to a producer, your lyric then would follow here. If you're preparing this for a rehearsal or a workshop or something like that, you want a hard page break and start the lyric on the next page. For a producer, don't break before and after a lyric. For the purposes of readings and rehearsals, hard page break before the lyric and after the lyric. A lyric gets indent. You see the character name is entered here, and then the lyric, you follow the structure of your lyric. A, then the B is indented. It's all capitals. So if you had a C section, it would be indented further over here. A, B, C. So you can tell just by the indentation what the format of the structure of the lyric is. The song title should be the last thing in the script before you go to the lyric. Let me find another example of this. Here is probably going to move it a little bit further on the page. We'll bump the camera sort of at it. So you want to indent the stage direction and bold the name, put the number of the cue and then bold it. All right. And then can I find a quick instance of, yeah, here, this will be a good page to show you. The difference between a stage direction and an aside. An aside here is partial grammar. It's not a full sentence. And so it's also not punctuated with a final period or an initial capital. It's lowercase and partial grammar, whereas a full stage direction is full grammar. There's very few styles that you need for a musical. There's a character name, there's aside, there's stage direction, there's lyric, all caps, and then there is the beginning of a scene, the stage directions there. I just showed you one, let me show you another one. Stage directions here. As long as I'm on this page, let me show you, let me demonstrate. Act 2, you see, starts with page 1. See that up there? Yep. If there's only one scene in an act, this particular Act 2, there's only one scene. It just says Act 2, there's no scene 1. It doesn't say Act 2, scene 1 if there's only one scene. And you would omit the scene number in here. This is just a page number. If you're doing just a one act, you could omit this entire Roman numeral and just have page numbers. Or if it's a one act with a couple scenes, you do like it would see 1-1, or the next scene would be 2, whatever page number is 7. The next would be 3, whatever page number you're on now, 17, and so on. But you wouldn't, for a one act, you wouldn't need 1, 1, 1, 1, and so on. All right, that's the basics. If you follow that, you're in pretty good stead. Our complete format guidelines are huge. They're enormous. They're 120, 140 pages long, and there's lots of details and variations and annotations, but this will get you going. All right, thanks much.